having me. This is pretty amazing. So let me just start. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Ever since a young age, I was made to believe that, well, words didn't hurt. But surprise, words actually hurt a lot. I tried killing myself, not once, but twice, because of hurtful words. Shocking, right? Ever since I became paralyzed in the year 2006, I realized that my inability to walk is a big deal to other people, not to me. I've been reminded time and again that I'm not able to walk. For example, in 2006, my friends left my side because apparently I was a burden to them because I couldn't walk. They thought, how are we going to hang out with her? She can't even move. Then, in 2007, I overheard a family member of mine tell my cousin not to hang around with me because, and I quote, "If you hang around with her, you'll catch whatever she had, and you will end up paralyzed and on a wheelchair." Horrendous, right? For a 15-year-old girl, these words were like salt to my wounds. I was being reminded of my loss. I was being reminded that I can't walk. I was being treated as if I was an illness, a virus that could destroy lives. More than that, I wasn't being treated like a human. Why? Just because I can't walk? Is it really a big deal? Well, I suppose it is. Ever since I was young, I've had dreams of being an actress and a model. And despite having a disability, I didn't let those dreams die. In 2014, I won second place in the Miss Wheelchair India pageant, and I decided that it was the right time to pursue my dream. Unfortunately, though, it was short-lived. I went to many auditions, contacted many casting directors, and even uploaded my profile onto many casting portals. But the one thing that I heard from everyone was, and I quote, "Virali, you're beautiful. You have the perfect features. Your acting skills are on point, and you'd be perfect for this role. But na, ek problem hai. It's your wheelchair. If you were walking, na, I swear we would have casted you for this role." So again, I was judged because of my inability. It seems to me that most people with disabilities are judged by their inabilities. But one thing, these inabilities, they've been decided by society, not by us. Surprisingly, the stigma around disability is still prevalent to this day. It may not be that obvious, but it's still there. The other day, I was called a Divyang by an unknown man. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the term, it basically means divine body. It's also been encouraged to use the term Divyang in place of Viklang or disabled. Great, right? So apparently, I am considered divine because I have a disability. So according to that logic, I wasn't divine before? Questionable, right? Now, I didn't take it to heart, but I decided to see if my status of being divine is perceived in the same way by other people. Now, a couple of months ago, I went out on restaurant audits in Mumbai just to see if restaurants are truly accessible. Spoiler alert, they're not. Anyway, I called the restaurant up that I was supposed to go to, and I asked the employee there if the premises was accessible. First of all, he didn't know the meaning of accessibility. So I had to explain it to him in extreme detail. Anyway, he finally told me that there were some steps there. And so I asked him politely if they could help me up those steps. And surprisingly, he said no. I was shocked. I thought I was divine. Hello? I thought I was divine. I thought I was supposed to be treated that way. So why was this guy saying no to me? I was disheartened. Instead, I felt as if he should have treated me that way. I'm a Divyang after all, aren't I? I should be treated as if I'm. But that's the thing. I'm not divine. I'm a normal human being that went through a traumatic incident that left me wheelchair bound. And that's about it. It's the same for almost every person out there with a disability. We want to be treated in the same manner. We don't want to be treated specially. But I don't understand why it's so difficult for everyone to understand. But sadly, it is. It is difficult to understand. All we ask is that you treat us like human beings. But sometimes humanity fails us. And humanity has failed me more than once. I was molested 3 times by the luggage porters at a railway station in Mumbai. I'm sure many of you must be knowing this because of my petition for accessible railways called My Train Too. Now, why was I touched and manhandled? I suppose it's because of the lack of infrastructure. Sometimes it seems as if my nation doesn't consider me to be human. It feels as if I don't have any rights. Why? I understand that, according to society, I have 3 strikes going against me. I'm a woman, I'm disabled, and I'm single. I realize that. But my life is just as important and significant as yours. So why don't I have these rights? Why am I not treated as a human being? It seems to me that this unintentional ignorance is mainly because people have different perceptions about disability. According to everyone, it seems as if people think that disability is just black and white. Apparently to them, there is no gray area. There's no in-between. Disability is supposedly just black and white. Either we're deaf, either we're not. Either we're walking, either we're not. But that's not the case. Sometimes it seems to me that people aren't aware. And people just have different perceptions about disabilities. And just to make us feel better and to spare our feelings, we have all of these different terms and labels. Divyang, specially abled, differently abled, handicapped, etc. How am I different? You use the stairs, I use the elevator, and that's about it. If you really need a term, then please acknowledge the elephant in the room, because according to the dictionary, I am disabled. But only physically, and only because you need a term. In my mind, I am still the same Virali that I was before I became a wheelchair user. Now, to be very honest, I consider myself to be unique. Why? Because this wheelchair is my throne, and I am a queen. Now, how many of you can say that you have your own personalized throne? Not many, I'm sure. Even though people have considered my legs before they've considered me, I still consider myself to be a queen. And to be honest, I am not really disabled. Disabled are those that lack empathy, those that are rapists, murderers, and psychopaths. Those are the ones that are truly disabled. But to be very honest, these terms, we need to eliminate these terms from our vocabulary. Able-bodied, disabled, they divide us, nothing more. When I say the word disability, you automatically think of someone in a wheelchair. But think about it for a second. Am I truly disabled? Are we truly disabled? Sure, we may be less able than some of you, but you may be less able than some of us. So, does that mean I truly have a disability? Does that mean that you have a disability? But what about those with invisible disabilities? Will you call them disabled? Sure, you can categorize me as having a disability because it's physical and it's visible. But what about those that are dealing with some other issues, like, say, a learning disability? Would you call them disabled? I've said this many, many times, and I will repeat myself. Stop using terms and labels that indirectly or directly mean abnormal, because normalcy is subjective. What may be normal to me may be viewed as an abnormality to you. So who are we to decide what's normal? I don't think we're not anyone to decide. I just think we just need to accept ourselves. We need to stop labeling ourselves. And I'm telling you, the day that we eliminate these terms from our vocabulary, the day that we change our perception, that's the day when we'll achieve equality, and that's the day when the stigma around disability will be abolished. Thank you.